What if you had experienced seeing spirits since you were a child? What would you do if you saw someone or something pretending to be a loved one? What line could a spirit cross that would drive you from your own home? Today we test the believability of the spirits and the doppelganger.
Welcome to Believing the Bizarre,
where we dive into the unknown and the unusual
and tell you whether or not we find it believable.
That's right, and this is another Tuesday, morning, afternoon, whatever you listen to.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Now listen, I don't want this to dive into a discussion about it, because I know it's out there, but today is the day after my second vaccination. Dude, was I feeling it today.
Yeah, I bet you were.
You know what's an interesting concept, which I was thinking about yesterday? Think about when you slam your thumb in a door, right?
Okay.
Not good. But you don't know it's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's just, it happens, and then you deal with it. Now, obviously, I'm not saying your second vaccination shot is similar in pain to that. Now, some people, it's worse. Some people, it's not bad at all. But you're still going into this knowing that it's going to f*** you up a little bit. And it's weird, because how many times in your day do you make a decision knowing I'm probably going to get sick or not feel well? You know what I mean?
I know exactly, but you know that it's going to be good for you in the long run.
Right, but it's just weird, because it's like whenever, like, you know, you stub your toe, you get stung by a bee. You don't wake up and think, tomorrow I'm going to be dealing with the pain of a bee sting. It just happens. Mm-hmm. But the shot, it's like, I know I'm going to feel like shit tomorrow. I'm not going to be sick. It's just a repercussion. It's a weird thing that thankfully in our normal day in life, we don't have to deal with that type of, situation.
That's true. I dealt with that many months ago at this point, and I feel your pain.
Yeah.
I just came from a lovely dinner of grocery store sushi and an Uncrustable.
I'm expecting you to have to use the restroom sometime during this episode.
I think I'm good, man. I think I'm good. But I would love to dive into this listener story with you. Are you excited?
Let's do it.
This story brought to us by our listener, Ben. It's got a little bit of everything, man. It's got ghosts, it's got unseen spirits, it's got malicious entities, doppelgangers, just a whole smorgasbord of haunted kind of spirits.
Any aliens?
No, just like spirits.
Oh, any like demons?
Any
cryptids?
No, not cryptids.
A
just
smorgasbord
spirits.
of spirits.
Spirits.
Okay. And also not producer Ben, for those of you that
yeah,
have
not the same guy.
Yeah, to some of our other bonus content, not producer Ben. I'm assuming, unless you guys did this behind my back.
No. Although Ben's been helping me go to the gym lately.
Yeah.
He's been helping
pumping
me get
that iron.
them reps in.
The reps and the
I'm
sets.
feeling really good about myself, actually. But let's talk about Ben. So this is a direct quote from him. Hey guys, I listen to the podcast, which is awesome. And I thought I'd like to share some of my personal experiences and see if you guys would like to share them, which we are. Here we are.
Nope, that's the end of the episode.
I've had experiences my entire life, but I'm going to discuss one that spanned for years. So what he's meaning, he grew up in this house in Southern Illinois, and that's where a lot of these experiences come from. But there are more beyond that too.
Okay. Beyond Illinois?
Yes, yeah. Because this takes place over 3 states, Illinois, Alaska, and Missouri. I know, it's a wide array.
It is, yeah. It spans the country. No geography questions, please. Keep them to yourself.
This is still from him. I grew up in a small town in Southern Illinois called Thebes, which, all the greats go to Thebes.
Do you have a cousin from Thebes? I feel like you're like, yeah, I got a cousin there. I wonder if he's heard about this guy.
No, it's,
an uncle?
No. My favorite movie, one of my favorite movies, Hercules, he goes to Thebes to cut his teeth.
He goes to Chicago? Well, Illinois?
No.
Listen, Chicago is one of those cities that is bigger than the state. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like Green Bay is bigger than Wisconsin, in my opinion. And I think Chicago is bigger than Illinois.
Baltimore, I think.
Washington, yeah, well, now that Washington, D.C. is like its own thing, yes, I would agree. Which is, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean,
But this is like Southern Illinois, like
not Chicago?
Yeah. This is a very small town.
Are there other cities? Well, I guess you just said Thebes.
Yeah, this is a very small town. This has only got 475 people. I looked it up.
Okay.
He said it's about 500, but it's 475.
And when he left, so now it's like one less.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the town Thebes is famous for potentially two things. Abraham Lincoln practiced law there.
Oh.
Yeah. And Dred Scott, who I'm not sure who that is, but it's a great name, may have been in prison there.
May have been in prison.
May.
There's no records. It's just, he might have stopped by.
Town legend says he was in prison there one time.
Okay. You're going to get so many people to hit you up, say who he is.
Good.
By the way, thank you everybody who hit me up and said that you probably saw it, that the Stephen King car was Christine.
Yes.
I knew it started with a C, but there was like 10 of you that hit me up. So I appreciate all of you listening very precisely and letting me know.
So this is still from Ben. Anyway, I lived on an old house on the outside of town. The house was on a dead-end street and had woods and train tracks behind it. On the other side of the train tracks was a hill that led to the town cemetery. I'm not sure exactly how old the house was, but I do know a woman died in the living room of the house. Since the house was old, it made creaks and sounds that could easily be explained. But after living in the house for so long, you grow accustomed to those sounds, and you can tell what's normal and what's not.
I wonder if he was close enough, which I imagine he is, that when like a train went by, it would start rattling the windows and stuff like that.
Probably.
I got used to that back where I grew up. But that is like the perfect setting for a horror movie. You know, like house, dead-end road, hill, so you can't see the cemetery. Maybe you can. I don't know how big the hill is, but you know it's right there. It's almost like it has like a barricade or like a what would you call that? Like a barrier or like a line. You know what I mean? Like you are crossing. Once you cross the hill, you are in the cemetery, and you're no longer in safety. You're no longer on that. That's the word I was looking for. It's like the hill is a threshold from normalcy in your home into this unknown area. Now, obviously, I'm sure he's familiar with it, but the way it's set up in my mind is really cool.
I always really liked growing up in Garfield Heights. I could always hear trains and always help me fall asleep. And in Akron, when we lived together, there was that train that was close to us too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
I always like trains near me.
Yeah.
Side note. So this is important. This is the layout of the house. And it goes like this. It's kind of complicated, but it's important. First room from the front porch was the kitchen. The kitchen had a doorway to the right that led to the dining room, and a door across from the front door leading to the back porch.
I am lost, but please continue.
Okay. The dining room had a door on the right side of the room that led outside of the door to the left side. It's a lot of lefts.
Listen, if people, this isn't the first time. If people could just give us a blueprint of their house,
yes,
we'll post it.
Yeah, just draw it up for
Draw
us
us a map. You can even stick figure yourself in there. You can even throw a couple ghosts in. I don't care. But give us that and we'll post it, because
I think we're both visual learners.
I am not an auditory learner at all. Like if I had to like learn how to do something on a podcast, done. Like YouTube, amazing. Notes, perfect. But like my auditory, I just like either zone out or I think the words come too fast and my brain can't structure what it's hearing and keep up with the pace of the person talking.
So the living room was connected to the dining room. The halls had stairs to the left and led to this room, and a window frame that went to the back porch, which was added onto the house at some point. The bathroom was connected to the hallway, and my parents' room was across from the window. Now I'm the youngest, so I had the small room. My room was behind my parents' room and had a door to the back porch. The back porch made an L shape from the kitchen to my room. Now that is Ben's house. I have trouble seeing it. But when he starts telling stories, it doesn't really matter. He says it's important, but it's not that big.
Not that important.
It's
Ben.
not that bad. It helps to understand it probably, but it's not that bad.
So you're saying people shouldn't stop listening now?
No, you definitely shouldn't stop. Just because you're not necessarily following this, or even if you have a crystal clear picture, it's okay.
Maybe hit the 15-second backup button a couple times and start doodling it out, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You could play along.
The stories hold up by themselves.
Okay.
All right, so at this point, he starts telling us his experiences from roughly age 7 to about age 28.
Oh, okay.
Experience 1 and 2 together when he was about roughly 8, 7. So one night in Ben's room, Ben was sleeping, and he was awoken by the sound of his door to the back porch opening. His bed was across from the door leading to the back porch. It was dark, and he couldn't see anyone for a few seconds. But he heard footsteps coming toward him, and he saw what was appearing to be a person. And he got scared and threw the covers over his head like any good kid would, right? and he waited for something to grab him. After several minutes, he peeked out, and it was gone, but the back door was still open. He closed it, and after a few hours, he fell back to sleep. Experience 2. After a few weeks later, the same thing happened. He woke up to the door opening, but he didn't see anyone. He thinks he imagined it because he didn't see or hear anything after several minutes, so he just rolled back over and tried to go back to sleep. Within minutes, he heard footsteps at the front of his bed. Rolling over to look and seeing a person in what looked like black leather jacket, black pants, and a black fedora. Its hands and face were also blacked out and had moved its hand up as if it was holding a knife or something. He bolted out of the room and jumped from the foot of his bed. He ran through his parents' room, into the hallway, and straight into the bathroom, where he locked the door. He stayed there until sunrise, and when he went back to his room, he saw the door was still open, but no one was there. So that's experience 1 and 2.
I wonder if his outside door could lock.
That's a good question.
Maybe it didn't, or maybe they never had, so it seemed like an unusual thing to do.
Mm-hmm. It's such a small town, right? You wouldn't necessarily think to lock all the doors.
I wonder if after that second encounter, he started locking the door, if it could lock. And maybe it didn't matter. That would be creepier if he locked it and it's still open.
Yeah.
First one I was thinking could have potentially been a real person, but the second one, if it wasn't sleep paralysis, if he wasn't dreaming, and that's actually what happened, I mean...
Well, he did ask his father about this, right? He asked his dad,
like, Dad, do you own a fedora? Can I borrow it?
He said his dad was checking up on him, actually, and that's why he went to the back porch, because it was his door connected to the back porch.
Right, which is really sweet as a kid.
He said he was just checking up on, like, the fire, because there was, like, an external fire for the house, for the warmth. And he asked why he never checked on Ben when he ran to the bathroom, and he never answered him. So he kind of just let it go.
Who let it go?
The father.
So... is that hinting towards the father knew it was haunted? Or
I think it's hinting toward his father lying and saying that he checked up on him, but he never really did.
Oh, okay.
So my question is, do you think this was a Hat Man experience?
The Hat Man, which we haven't talked about. I mean, we've talked about, but we haven't had an episode about. I don't think it's the fedora. It seems like a bigger brim hat, kind of like a hat with a bigger brim, but not like a top hat, but like fedoras have, well, there's wider fedoras, but fedoras are typically more of a narrow.
But also you can see like the leather on the jacket, which is interesting. This is the most detailed about like a hat man kind of thing I've ever heard, which is weird.
It makes it seem like almost like a trench coat. But see, it's funny because at first when you were describing it and when Ben was describing it to you, it made it sound kind of like somebody from Greece. Like a leather jacket, black pants, like John Travolta. But then the fedora makes me think mafia because there's mafia ties in Chicago. Obviously,
that's exactly what
Capone.
I'm thinking.
Now that's Chicago, and that's us tying all of Illinois again
kind of
to
imposing,
Chicago. Yeah, which isn't fair. But that's what I was thinking. I was thinking Greece until the fedora, and then I started thinking mafia spirit.
I was thinking if it wasn't such a detailed, like, if it wasn't like a leather jacket, it was just like a blacked out figure, I'd think it was more of like a hat man. But because it's like, you could see the leather and like the black pants, it feels like it's like a spirit.
Yeah. Listen, the hat man probably gets bored of the same hat. And he probably gets sweaty. Sometimes when you wear a hat too much, it gets really sweaty inside. So yeah. I imagine that he's got a couple in his arsenal. So maybe that day he was feeling... Maybe when in Illinois, wear a fedora.
Experience 3. Roughly 9 years old. So Ben, he's still in the same room, right? The one behind his parents' room.
So he's 9 years old. This experience isn't 9 years old.
Yes, he's 9 years old at the time. And so he'd woken up early one morning. Very early. And in that same door leading to the backyard, he saw a woman standing there on the back porch. And she's wearing this old gray dress with her arms folded in front of her. And it wasn't really scary. He said he felt more of a comfort. And
like protective almost, maybe.
Yeah, and with that feeling, he went back to sleep. And when he woke up again, she was gone.
I wonder what they're doing from the perspective of the spirits, when he goes under the covers for Mr. Fedora Capone, and for her, you think they're just like, see ya. You know what I mean? Like from their perspective, yeah. I wonder if they want to be seen, I wonder if they know that they're seen. I wonder if they're even aware that, like any type of understanding of that they're a ghost and they are haunting this house, or like where they're at, or if he's even around.
I think with spirits like that, you could argue they have more understanding than we do. But let's move on to a couple of theories I have so far about these first couple sightings. So my 3 theories that I have on these spirits so far. So one, I think there could be some connection to that graveyard.
Yeah.
Like maybe there's some like bleed through. Like it's close enough where they could like kind of filter in and stumble upon some kind of energy source, see it, absorb it, go back to where they go.
What you're saying is the hill is not doing its job as the threshold. Like,
maybe it's just kind of like a leaky pipe,
I think they need a new hill.
It's kind of build another one.
dig it up, and put a new one there.
Couldn't you see just like these ghosts like walking past the hill, past these tracks, wandering into a house?
Yeah, it's creepy, but also kind of pretty. I don't know. There's
scenic.
something. Scenic's a good word for it. Man, it's a tough economy when even hills be getting fired.
It's my second theory. Could these be familial spirits? So like family spirits from the past, his family's past. Maybe they're just like grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents.
There's no way to know that. I wonder how many generations of his family lived in that house.
That's a good question.
If I were to think that there was some family ties there, is that the show?
Yes.
I would wonder if maybe his family lived there for a couple generations. Maybe family that lived in that house was then buried in the cemetery.
Yeah, I'm wondering. But also, it doesn't necessarily have to be land oriented to be family. I think family can haunt family. I think that's like one of those exceptions to the rules.
One of the rules.
Yeah, I don't know. Rules. The rules are so vague.
Can families be haunted by Al Capone in a fedora?
Maybe if you're related. So my third theory, is this house just very haunted? Like you said that one ghost, it seemed mafia to you.
Yeah.
Maybe gangsters from Chicago went all the way to the boonies to bury some bodies out by his house.
Yeah.
Maybe he said that someone died. The lady died in his house before they bought that house.
So that could have been the lady that he saw.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe that's what that is. I don't know. Maybe this house is just very haunted and he's very sensitive.
Now, that makes it seem like now I don't know the rest of the stories. Like we've said before, when we do listener submissions, we don't touch them literally until the week of. So I don't know what's going to happen. But the way that it was set up makes it feel like he is having stuff follow him. Maybe that's not true. Maybe he just happens to witness things in different areas. I don't know yet. But so for these experiences, are you saying it's the area that's haunted and it doesn't quite seem like Ben that's being haunted?
That's what it seems like to me. He's kind of like, what's that movie? Paranorman, I think?
Yeah.
He's just walking through life. Good. Or The Sixth Sense, even. He's just walking through life and he's seeing these things.
He sees dead people. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yes. Anyway, so let's move on.
That's the name of the episode. Ben sees dead people.
Oh, could it really be?
No.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. Experience 4. Ben has now aged to 12. At this point, his oldest brother has moved out of the house and he's moved into his upstairs room. Now, according to Ben, the layout, so the thing we talked about at the beginning, this was at the top of the stairs. So you walk up into Ben's older brother's room. Then you turn right and then you go down the hallway, which only takes a couple steps. And then you see this other room. So very close rooms. It was the last day of Christmas break, and Ben had woken up to the sound of someone coming up the stairs. The light at the top of the stairs was blacked out by a shape. The shape of his mother coming into his room. Now Ben assumed that she was going to wake him up and get him ready for school, but she walked right past him, and he was thinking to himself how strange. He knew it was her from her big curly hair and her outfit, but she didn't say anything. So Ben sat straight up and said, "Mom." And she stopped. She backed up, going toward the steps while still facing him. But this time, the light never blacked out. It shone right through her. He jumped up, got dressed, and ran downstairs. And by the time he got down, he realized it was 3 a.m. and no one was awake. So, realizing no one's awake, he goes into his parents' room and he wakes up his mom, who is still dressed in her night clothes and still foggy from sleep. She said she never went upstairs at all. And this is the only encounter Ben had with this doppelganger, but it still kind of shakes him to the core because of how, acute it was. Mm-hmm. It's very creepy.
So she wasn't wearing night clothes?
The woman the thing that he saw upstairs?
Yeah.
No, it was like dressed for like work and stuff.
Okay. Two things. The backpedaling, very creepy. Mm-hmm. It actually reminds me of the Charman story we just heard. The personal encounter where the thing backed up from underneath the bridge to be in kind of a field of vision. Mm-hmm. But there's just something like it's like the uncanny valley, which I know is more robot related. But when somebody that is pretending to be human or something that is no longer normal is like acting like it's normal, it's just so unsettling, and I imagine that had to be really creepy. But I left my homework at home. I don't know the blueprints of this house. Did he have to run past this thing to get out of his bedroom? Because you said he jumped out of bed and he ran to, was it his parents' room right off?
He ran downstairs. Was that? Do you have to go past it? I think
because the last image we got was that when she walked past the light, it shone through her head, which makes me think she's in the walkway. So then he runs to her.
What I think is what happened. Like
he gave her that stiff arm. He hit her with the hit stick, Madden style.
He had enough time to get when he was getting dressed. I feel like this thing vanished or faded away.
He's like, wait a second. Wait, is this Inside Out? Where's my socks at?
I think that getting dressed and going downstairs gave it enough time to get away, and he didn't think about going past it.
You think
it's
he
so
got
early
dressed?
In the morning.
Yeah, I got the man. Did you say that?
Yeah.
See, I got the impression that it was like, holy shit, this is terrifying. I'm out of here.
Flying down, dick out.
Yeah. Well, maybe he doesn't sleep naked. Did you consider that?
Oh no, I never thought of. I actually never considered that.
Okay. So, but okay, that's looking at little tiny details, which is our job to do. But let's look at it as an overview. That's terrifying.
Yes.
Like, how did this thing look like his mom?
How did it know?
Yeah, exactly. And what was it going to do if he didn't call it out? Like, if he didn't say, hey, mom, what is that thing going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows?
What if you have a ghost mom that does like all your like chores and stuff? Or,
what if she walks past every morning at 3 a.m.?
Yeah.
That's scary. But I did a little research on doppelgangers. Do you know anything about them?
I know that when you play the werewolf card game, that there's sometimes a doppelganger. Doppelganger, wake up. If anybody knows the werewolf one night game.
Doppelganger means double walker.
It makes sense.
Yeah. It is also a German word.
Yes. That's actually one of the few... I mean, I know what it is, but I did know that about it. Just, it looks and sounds German. Doesn't the O have like the 2 dots over it?
What I saw didn't have umlauts, but I think some do. Mm-hmm. So I got a quote from Jessica Booth.
Who?
Jessica Booth, a writer for Bustle magazine.
Oh.
Doppelgangers are generally seen as bad omens. Even if they don't specifically mean death, because sometimes they mean death, many have always believed that the doppelganger is basically an evil twin. They supposedly attempt to purposely give you bad advice in a malicious way.
Become a Browns fan.
It's bad advice.
Go to college.
Damn.
Take out a lot of loans.
They might also try to plant sinister ideas into their victim's mind.
Do your podcast upstairs where it's 500 degrees.
Man. But yeah, there's many things a doppelganger could mean, like death or bad omens, but that's something I wanted to point out in particular.
Not doppelganger, but, I can't remember the name of it. I posted it on our Instagram, so if you don't hit me up, but go to our Instagram, you'll see what I'm talking about. But there was a movie where it was actually, I don't want to spoil it, but there was a girl that was seeing herself in the mirror and they actually trade places, which is really creepy because one of them is very violent and the person who switched place can only watch kind of like the terror unfold.
That sounds like a very common plot. I feel like I've heard that before.
What give me the movie then?
Goosebumps.
Sit down. But also, does this play into multiple dimensions?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
is this you from a different dimension, or is here? Okay, let me ask you this then. Your opinion. Do you think doppelganger is truly another version of yourself, maybe from another dimension, maybe not, or do you think it's something pretending to be another version of yourself?
I always thought it would be something pretending to be another version of me.
Like something wearing your skin.
Yeah, like, because it doesn't always have the correct details, supposedly.
Yeah, like mine would be like tall, fit, not colorblind.
Shut up.
Like, damn. That's cold. I probably wouldn't recognize it. Then.
No, maybe it would have like brown hair or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. But to me it seems always sinister. I've never heard it in a good way. And I don't think there's a version of me that would be sinister. Maybe there is. I don't know.
In a different universe or parallel universe or a different dimension, I think it's totally possible.
I don't know, man. I'm getting lost in the sauce. Let's move on.
Well, I think that should be an episode for another day. Doppelgangers?
Absolutely.
It's very interesting.
So, a few years go by. Ben's living at this house with his parents and brothers, siblings, and only small things happen. Like, they hear things from upstairs. They hear knocks and stuff like that.
Ooh.
But nothing, like, visual. Nothing big.
I wonder if his brothers and siblings believe or had their own personal experiences, or if this is more specific to Ben. Now, obviously, you touched on how maybe the father was in on it and was trying to shield him.
The father doesn't believe in anything.
No?
No, but the mother and some of his other siblings,
That's because she's a
they
doppelganger.
appear to be as...
She's a pod person.
They appear to be as sensitive, maybe a little bit less. Maybe they don't talk about it as much. That's what he said. They do have some sensitivity as well.
They don't talk about it in front of the kids, so they just pull their phones out and start texting.
Yes.
So you're at the dinner table and mom and dad just start texting each other. Like, do you see that ghost over there? Yeah, it was really creepy. Totally, bro. Pass the peas.
So, like I said, Ben's dad is not, he doesn't believe in any of it, even though he has seen things that he can't explain, but he won't give it credence.
You have to accept it. You could see a lot of things and just blow it off because either you truly don't believe it and you think your mind is playing tricks on you because the mind is powerful, or you just don't want to believe it. Yeah, he won't
give it that place in his heart. He's like, nope, I don't think that's real.
I don't blame anybody for doing that because I feel like once you accept it, you know what I mean? Then that's like, I think you can give it power in doing that.
Exactly. I asked Ben in an email, I was like, do you think maybe the woman standing there could have been just like a dream or something? He said he still questions everything. All of his experience, he's had lots, some small, some big. He still questions them all. I
think that's healthy. Yes. And it makes me believe things more.
Exactly. Just the fact that he's still questioning makes me think that he's sane.
You're not nuts, Ben. You're not nuts, man.
In this gap of years, Ben's family ended up moving into a trailer next to this house.
The same house?
Yeah, but they tore down that house.
Oh, so this house doesn't even exist anymore.
Exactly.
Man, I was going to say, instead of a blueprint, just give us the Zillow listing. But
so as Ben's growing up, he eventually enlists into the military, to the army, and his brother and sister-in-law and their daughter move in with their father into this trailer. Their parents are now divorced. While they're in this trailer together, they claim that things in the closet in the trailer would growl at them. Growl. And that they would see someone standing at their bedside all in black. And then they joked that the ghost was mad because he left. Experience 5. Ben is now 22 years old, and he's been in the army for a while, and now he's living in Alaska.
Ooh.
He has less than a year left. He's been living in there with his friend and his friend's wife in their house. Now, Ben's wife talks about having a spirit following her since she was little.
The same spirit?
Yes, the
same
same
creepy.
Spirit.
That's like insidious.
And they all had some kind of weird things happening in this house. The husband and the wife, they went out to get tattoos one night, which sounds awesome. But Ben was home alone, and he was laying in bed watching TV when he suddenly heard something coming up the stairs. Assuming it was his friends, he said, "What's up?" Ben never got a response, so he thought he was hearing things. And he looked to the door, and he saw that half of the door was blacked out. Ben sat up, and he said, "What the f***?" And then something ran out and down the stairs. He grabbed his pistol. He said, not sure what that was going to do, but he grabbed his pistol, and he ran down the stairs to search the entire house. Nothing. Saying, "F*** it," he just jumped into the shower to clear his head.
Oh. I wonder if it was a hot shower or a cold shower. He's in Alaska, so I'm assuming hot.
He actually said it's a hot shower.
Good. Do you still stand by your belief that Antarctica is just a bigger Alaska? Is that your quote from the Antarctica episode?
I do. That actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I do.
Okay. So
stand by that.
A lot of things watching him. Like, that's kind of a theme.
This story's not over.
Oh my God. So he's in the shower. I just assume like wash away the story, get behind his ears, and it's like cleansed. Dude, that is like one of the most vulnerable. God, okay, I'm ready.
So he had the hot water going, like you said, and he's washing his hair, and he felt this super cold chill go down his back. And he spun around, and he saw that the shower curtain was whipping around like someone was yanking it. He said, "You gotta be f***ing kidding me." And he was drained of all his energy, and he's dripping wet, and he jumps in the car, and he drives out of there. And as soon as he left, he felt better.
Was he naked?
No,
in the car.
Naked. He jumped. He threw.
See, but when he was sleeping, I assume he's wearing stuff. But nah, I could be crazy here. Most people shower naked.
I assume he crammed on some clothes.
Okay, same thing. He's like, these are inside out. Where are my socks? The ghost is like, oh, they're here. Here they are. You dropped these.
So I emailed Ben about this,
Yeah.
and he said they always felt things in this house, but this is the only time they ever saw anything in this house, which was interesting.
It seems like there's the repetition of the doorways.
Yes, something always watching from the doorway. So this is the last experience.
Number 6.
Number 6, age 28.
Good. That's my favorite number. I've passed that age, but it is my favorite number.
So Ben is now living in Missouri, about 15 minutes away from his dad, who still lives in the trailer that the family moved into. Ben has a son now, who's about 6 months old. At the time, his fiance went downstairs to get laundry or something, and the boy started crying. Now, Ben was in bed because he was trying to go to sleep. And that's when he heard his fiance walk toward his son's room, which was next to theirs, and he was crying, and Ben heard her, like, shushing him, as if she was trying to rock him to sleep. Getting up and going to the bathroom, he opened the door, and she was coming from the living room, the opposite way of his son's room. He said, nope, and he flung the door open to his son's room, and he was standing in his crib crying with no one else in the room. So that's the last of his experiences.
I feel the exasperation of that nope. Like, obviously, these stories are spread out pretty much over 20 years, but still, it's just kind of like, nope, not doing it, not today.
Like, that moment from Harry Potter, not my daughter, you bitch.
Yeah, with Bellatrix.
Mm-hmm. It kind of
Go
feels
be
like
in a new
me.
Tim Burton movie.
But yeah, that's kind of how it feels to me. I wonder if it's still continuing with his son, or if it's going to pass on to his son, that kind of sensitivity.
As much as I love paranormal stuff, I hope not.
I know what you mean. But yeah, those are Ben's experiences. He says he experienced a lot more, but like you said before, some of those are able to be rationalized. He thinks
I said that?
He said that.
Oh, okay. I thought you said like you said.
No, he was able to rationalize those away, and
yeah.
So he didn't always send all of them, but he sent some that stood out through the years.
Gotcha. Well, I feel like everybody has an experience that you can kind of swipe, sweep under the rug. So
thank you for sending them, Ben.
Yeah, for sure. Very interesting. Get rid of all your doorways, man.
Yeah.
No beds, no
concept.
doorways, no showers.
Just a big studio apartment.
Yes.
Would you like to discuss this?
I would.
So Tyler, we just talked about Ben's story.
We did.
It's like this lifetime of
a lifetime achievement of ghost experiences.
Yeah, he's just seems like he's very sensitive to what's around him.
Yeah, I'm not. So I give him credit. But it's also very much from a distance.
Yes.
Like, and I'm happy for him for that. Like, I'm glad he doesn't have an experience where he was harmed or, something was thrown at him. It seems very much like an observation type of a thing, or like just catching something in the moment.
He said that most of it was not malicious or malevolent, which was good.
Did he feel malevolent with the doppelganger, or was that just very strange?
That was the moment where he felt shivers. That one still sticks with him because it was scary. Like, scary.
Well, I mean, there's like, even though it's your mom and even though you trust your mom, it's like for a day, you have to look at her and be like, give her the squinty eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, are
questioning,
you?
Thinking, like, what did I see?
Yeah, good morning, Mom. What's your maiden name?
Yes.
Yeah, what did we eat for dinner last night, Mom?
But man, I couldn't imagine. That one's still, I know it's just a blip on the radar, but it's still very creepy. And the thing that shower continuing.
That's just such a vulnerable state to be in. You know what I mean? It's like using the bathroom and showering and sleeping. Those are like three things where it's like you are just absolutely vulnerable, putting yourself out there and hoping nothing bad happens.
Yes, exactly. So I guess what we want to talk about is, do we believe all the stories that you sent us? Do we believe Ben's been experiencing these things all his life?
Well, I already, like, I feel like this is kind of like a broken record with listener submissions, but I believe in ghosts. He's not saying ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's not like, then the ghost possessed my mom and she started crawling upside down on the ceiling and then the sofa started levitating. You know, it's like he saw a shadow figure. He saw something with a fedora. He saw something, like, probably the most unbelievable thing is that he saw something that looked exactly like his mom. But if I believe in ghosts, why can't I believe that they can look like other things? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, with the information I have in front of me, it's not dramatic. I appreciate the fact that he tries to stay skeptical on his experiences.
Questions his own thoughts all the time.
Yeah, you should. And I don't know, we didn't have a single experience that he just told us that he was with somebody else directly experiencing it, right?
Right.
That's a shame. I hope he has some that he didn't tell us that are like that, because there are so many not so many. There's a handful of experiences that I've had that I'm so thankful that somebody was right next to me.
Yeah, there are many adjacent experiences, but none
where they're in a
with
different
him.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's like, if you don't have anybody else that can back up your story, I feel like over time it becomes fuzzier. You start reconstructing memories, and then you get to a certain point where, if you're a skeptical person like Ben seems to be, you hit that point where you're like, man, did I really experience that?
Do I believe this happened to me?
So I don't want him to have any paranormal experiences again that makes him feel uncomfortable. But if he does, I hope there's someone there with him. Maybe his son when he's older and he can take it.
But yeah, I like you said, there's nothing here that's like a huge red flag. And the fact that he questions it makes me believe it more.
Yeah, so I go 100% believable. I have no problem saying that. It's, things in his doorway. I mean, but like you said, the doppelganger thing is crazy. Like,
I believe he's experiencing things. Maybe not everything's 100% in his mind, but he's experiencing something, and he seems to be sensitive. What?
Did you just call him nuts?
No.
Not everything's right in his mind?
No. I mean, like, not everything, like, the memories are 100%. No.
I was like, damn, dude, that's vicious.
No, that's not what I meant at all. I think maybe some memories are not as clear as they could have been.
That's another reason that it's good to have somebody experience, because then you can have that shared experience that you can bounce. Like, for instance, when you were doing a Twitch, which is on a YouTube, you can check that out. You did Rocket League.
Yes.
You were talking about an experience that I was there for, but obviously I wasn't on it. I was watching. I was a guest. And so I could only listen to you explain our shared experience. And it was very cool because I was there, you were there, we both experienced the same thing, but I've never heard it from your perspective. And there were little things that you said that I completely forgot, and there were little things that maybe I would have said that you didn't mention. And it's just interesting how two people can experience the exact same thing, and like there's the same through line, but they like completely different.
Very, yeah. It's very interesting. But Ben,
you're like, but anyway,
no.
that.
Thank you for sending us your story. I really enjoyed going through it and reading it and thinking of questions and thinking of motives and stuff like that, and like, why could this be happening to you? And
the doppelganger was a very nice touch, and I say that as if you faked it.
I know,
and I know you didn't, but it's like that was like the unique thing that really jumped out. But yeah, Charlie hit me up. He was like, "Dude, this listener submission is crazy.
Yeah,
like this is gonna be great." I'm like, I can't wait, because again, I don't know what this is. I just come in here, I hook up the mic, and let's go.
Yeah, but thank you for letting us do it. I appreciate it. So thank you for listening. This was the spirits and the doppelganger.
I'm so glad the doppelganger was in there. It would still be a really good episode, and obviously for him terrifying. The shower thing especially.
Yes.
But the doppelganger is just a whole new level. And still with the backpedaling.
It's just, yes, the fact that like she backs up, and you can see it in your mind. She backs up slowly, still staring at you.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden the light shimmers through.
Yep.
Like, what? My mind would explode.
She's on that Michael Jackson moonwalk where it still looks like she's going forward.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
So crazy thing that I got to touch on really quick.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question. It's not that crazy. Have you ever had a dream? And no, I didn't piss myself. Have you ever had a dream where you're peeing for a long time, but you don't get the relief because you're not actually emptying your bladder because it's a dream? Have you ever had that?
I've had a similar situation, but no.
Okay. It happens to me every once in a while, and thank goodness I've never in my adult life, wet the bed. So I had this dream last night where I was in this bathroom. Now, it was my house, but it wasn't really my house. It was like, my dream house. But in that world, I owned it. And I was in the bathroom and I was just peeing and peeing and peeing. Like, it felt like nonstop. And I'm like, I can't get the relief. What's going on? But people kept coming in and interrupting my peeing. And it was becoming distracting and blah, blah, blah. There's a point to this. So then this woman comes in and I don't know what she's carrying, but she's carrying something and she drops it and she looks in the mirror and she just starts screaming. And I stop peeing at this point. And I look at her. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And she's just like, there's a demon in here. Now, obviously, I didn't see anything. It's kind of a really weird thing. We do paranormal podcasts every week. So I've had more paranormal thoughts like in the last year than I've ever had because it's constantly on my brain.
Yeah.
But it's funny because then I shaved this morning and I put a mirror in my shower so I can shave in there to not make a mess in my sink. And I'm just looking in the mirror as I'm shaving. And even though it wasn't the same bathroom as my dream, I'm still just like, God damn it. But I didn't see anything. I don't think it was a demon in my house. I think it was just a crazy dream. But it felt so good to pee this morning.
Yeah, I like that story. It's funny.
You didn't laugh, but that's okay. You can laugh later.
I did before.
Laugh later.
Yeah.
In your dreams. I'm peeing in my dreams. You're laughing at my dream. Yeah. That is the fakest laugh. And sometimes you give me that laugh. I'll say a banger joke on here. Well, and you're like, ha 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 ha. Anyway, you, back to what I was saying. If you liked that pee dream and you liked the first 45 minutes before it and you want to let us know, go to Apple Podcasts if you don't listen on Spotify. Like 85% of you listen on Spotify. I totally get it. It makes the background color purple.
It's cool.
It's very cool. But for those of you that don't and you listen on Apple and you haven't done it yet, hit up that and leave a 5-star review. Let us know what you're thinking. We love it. We appreciate it. We share it on our Instagram stories. We just got 5 in the last week, and I don't say that to brag. I just mean we were stuck at 99 for like a month. And then we got a couple in, so we shared those. A couple other podcasts got shout out, so good for them. But if you want to let us know what you're thinking, that is a fantastic way to do that.
And if you like the stories that we're putting out now on our regular feed, and you're interested in hearing us more throughout the week, we have a Patreon where we drop lots of cool games and stories and adventures. Adventures? Sure, why not? And if you are interested in joining that, we have $2, $5, $10 tier. Lots of fun stuff on there.
So go check that out at Patreon, Believing the Bizarre. But thank you, as always, for listening. I'm Tyler.
I'm Charlie.
And catch us next week on Believing the Bizarre,
a podcast